hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Nirmal Bang. I am Hiral Dadia. We have with us Vikram Kirloskar, President CII, joining in. Mr. Kirloskar, my first question coming to you here is uh, with regards to what's happening with COVID. Now, everyone knows what the impact has been on the economy. The next phase now is with regards to the Atmanirbhar package, which has been announced. What is your view on the package?
Well, there are two parts of the package, or three parts of the package. One is the fiscal part, one is the monetary part, and one is the reforms part. And they've all been told together at the same time. Prime Minister said it's a 20 lakh package, but it's a combination of fiscal plus monetary, bulk of it being monetary, which is being worked out by the RBI and perhaps some amount of it with sovereign guarantees. So I think for some areas like agriculture, rural infrastructure, some areas there is, and of course bottom of the pyramid. Perhaps bottom of the pyramid, cash out has not been adequate according to us, but an MSME. MSME is mostly monetary. I think some areas there has been a lot of, or let's say there is, I won't say adequate, but there has been some elevation of misery or some way to get taken off. But bulk of the industry or even items like the airline industry, the hotels and restaurants, which are very badly affected. I'm not talking of five-star, I'm talking of the rest, and which are big employers. Also small businesses, which are probably self-owned and employing a few people here and there. I think they are in for a very hard time. My biggest worry is demand. What I'm hoping is at least the 20 lakh idea that we are going to spend 20 lakhs. Now, whichever way, some people will analyze it and understand what it is. Some people won't, but at least people will feel confident that it's time to start buying something.
Mm.
None of the economy will not start growing until people start buying. And that's the issue.
Right. So right now is when the stimulus that that we've heard of, I think CII had recommended something worth around 15 lakh crores, and the government has looked at 20 lakh crores. Are you happy with it though?
We gave the 15 lakh crores, a second tranche of what we asked for was 15 lakh crores. It was beyond, it was after the first announcement. So I think combined what we asked for was in the same region, but we were expecting more fiscal incentives.
Right, I think that's something.
We had asked for the DISCOM support, and I think that got done. We are happy on that side. We hope that will set the chain going. We had asked for MSME support, but in the MSME support, we had also asked for a certain amount of money to be paid to, let's say, labor at the bottom end. Salaries, 3 months salary kind of cash. Here they're talking of loans, and although they are sovereign guaranteed loans, as well as a certain amount of payments by PSCs and government sectors, all overdue payments, all that to be cleared. But certain, just loans on top of loans when there is no business has no meaning.
Correct.
You need cash flow. You need cash to flow through the system to generate cash. And whatever commitments we are making on 20 lakh crores, I've been talking in other programs, is that we have to, they have to have a return on this 20 lakh crores. This is money which we are taking, which is our future generations' money.
Mm.
Just assume it was all fiscal, it was all cash, it was all, obviously we don't have the ability to, we don't have the reserves in the country to spend 20 lakh crores. We would have had to be printing all this money. Now we are doing it through various clever means. The 20 lakh number has come. But this has to be returned at some point, which means when it's spent, there has to be a return on this money.
Correct.
And that requires the economy to start moving up pretty fast.
Correct.
And I think that is where the issue is. I hope it will start moving. It's not something where you can say switch on and everything starts moving. open up, and it's a struggle to get the thing moving. But I hope the demand does pick up and we start moving. So
Right.
that's the hope of the 20 lakh crores.
Right. Very interestingly, we have been talking to a couple of people, and the sense that I pick up right now is, and the major argument with the stimulus package is that the package is more about funding your losses by taking loans, etc. But it's not a relief in actual terms. Do you agree with a statement like that?
See, you know, cash has no color finally. Whether you're funding your misery or whether you're funding something, cash is, and if it's borrowed, there's a cost to it.
Hmm.
Okay? If it's equity, there's a cost to it. If it's borrowed, there's a cost to it. I think to me, when you get whatever the cash gets used for, it's an investment of some kind or the other. It's an investment in your loss, it's an investment in your loan, or it's an investment for an asset, investment for an expense, whatever it is. But it has to rotate and spill over something. In every rotation of that cash, there must be some margin which comes out. And that is important. And how to, so for this, you require cash to flow through, which means you want someone to go and buy something. And he buys it from someone else, and someone else buys it, and the value chain and the supply chain start working. Whether it's services, whether it's goods, whatever it is, manufacturing, services, farm, even retail and wholesale, everything, there needs to be money movement. I think that's essential. I think there are sectors in the country where things are working. It's not that nothing is working. I think whatever little bit I've heard, there is distress in the farm sector, but it is working right now. A lot of areas it's working. Some amount of transport has started working, right? It's been working from day one. There are certain businesses which are making essential chemicals, pharmaceuticals, food products. Those have been running. But obviously not everything. I believe a lot of the software industry, the IT industry has been running. There are some things which are running, certainly not manufacturing, general manufacturing like the automobile industry. And this requires demand.
Right. So even to spur demand, correct. Only incentivizing or providing relief to the supply side, but not providing any relief to the demand side, that is going to create a major mismatch. But taking your point with regards to MSMEs as well, if I look at the total quantum of MSMEs that are registered, it's I think little over 6 crore MSMEs that are registered with us. And if you talk about the relief that has come in right now is for around 45 lakh MSMEs who will probably be able to avail the collateral-free loans or the risk-free government-backed loans. What happens to the remainder 5.5-6 crore MSMEs who will still be struggling, because these are the guys who are the ones who are actually providing employment as well?
That's where the cash flow is required. Unless the supply chains start working, a lot of the MSMEs who are not in the banking system, who are, someone who is filling up tires, air tires on the side of the road, small shop. He's an MSME, micro industry. He doesn't have a bank account. He doesn't have anything. He's as a car passes by, someone's out, needs a flat repaired, a tire repair, something like that. He's doing. Those poor guys are stuck.
Correct.
They've had no business for last 2-3 months. They're stuck, and that's where we felt that we've been asking for some cash at the bottom of the pyramid, which is not a loan, which is a giveaway. Okay. I think government has tried wherever possible in their scheme of things. And Manrega has been increased. All this has been done, but it's always, is that adequate or can we afford it? And there's always going to be a balance of it, and which who all are going to get it. I think that is something. I'm not an expert. The government is an expert in understanding the pain where it is. I think that's what they're trying to do. I think they've done it to the best of their ability right now. Perhaps they will do more in the months to come. I still have a feeling they haven't fired all their shots right now.
Okay. So that you think there could be another round of stimulus that could be coming in as well for the sectors which are left out?
think, I hope, not only for the sectors that are left out, but also for the people you just talked about, and we talked about the very small businessmen at the bottom. I hope something comes out after the lockdowns are removed. That's when they're required most, a lot of the stuff for these businesses to
Correct.
restart.
Right. Mr. Kirloskar, another recommendation that had gone from CII to the government as well as a financial package that was needed was for tourism, airlines, as well as hospitality. I think all of these sectors, the kind of comments that we hear from them now as well, because nothing has been done for them yet. What's the sense that you pick up? Because agreed that airline is something which is still some time away in terms of restarting. So probably something delayed if could come in is okay. Tourism, okay. But hospitality is another space which really needed it because, I mean, there will be no kickstart in terms of consumption then on this front as well.
Exactly. It's going to be difficult for these people, I think. And what kind of package to give? Besides salary, what kind of package to give? I think most of these companies will get some kind of help on their loans if they can convince their bankers. But they're running expenses, like, and a lot of them is employment, salaries. Plus, with all the labor going back uh, home, it's going to be tough. To get the labor back, to get these things restarted. There's an expense in cleaning up a hotel, cleaning up a restaurant. You're going to run it at 1/3 capacity because of social distancing. I think there are a lot of issues. It's not that simple restarting in some of these areas. Even how much of a package to give is difficult. What kind of a package? I think we have to be careful in the more days I'm getting into it, okay? Initially, in the first couple of weeks, you say, okay, this will close in 3 months, we'll be able to restart, things look okay. But now suddenly the numbers start increasing. We are opening slowly. As we open, the numbers start increasing. And things and reality starts hitting you. And you start, initially, you didn't think so much about the migrant labor going back. You
Correct.
thought it'll be easy to restart the auto industry. Now you find that whether it's the dealerships or the suppliers, they're both in the red zones.
Hmm.
And then you realize, starting a factory has no meaning right now.
Correct.
Unless you can sell or receive parts, why open a factory? What do you do with it?
With it.
So I think reality is slowly hitting us that restarting is not going to be easy. It's slow, but it'll have to be pursued actively. I think we'll just have to make a huge amount of effort, coordination effort, and it's going to be a slow startup. The effect is going to be longer than expected, and it's going to be harder than expected. That's reality. And slowly, I think reality is slowly dawning now.
Correct, correct. Yeah, I think everyone's been sitting at home. No one's really realized. In fact, I mean, a small example with a neighbor itself who's a diamond merchant probably went to office, I think, say after 55, 60 days. And the immediate reaction that we've heard from him is that now I don't even know where my stock stands at. I mean, I have no memory of what my stock used to look at. I don't know how to restart selling this. And what do we do? So I think that's something, because these are sectors which are really unorganized in terms of work. The small businesses are the ones which are really unorganized, and for them it has been a sudden lockdown, and for them now to slowly kickstart work is becoming really difficult. But if you have to take Maharashtra's case itself, which is, if I'm not mistaken, it contributes almost 15 to 16% of India's GDP, which is still under lockdown, what is the kind of economic impact we could see according to you?
See, I'll tell you auto industry, okay? I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to take Maharashtra but auto industry is a large part in Maharashtra, besides other things. Maharashtra is quite dominant with auto and auto
Correct.
related. Uh, the first quarter washout. April, May, June, don't expect much.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, we'll get out our existing and then start July, August, September in the second quarter. and then hope for the things improve, go to 70-80% capacity by end of the year. I think that's the kind of feeling I get, and I think auto industry will start getting to normal perhaps in June 2021. Now you can see where we'll end up if you add up all these numbers.
Correct. And what happens to the EV side of business? Because all bets were on EV, but do you think now everyone will
I
actually
don't know
push
who's
plans
bet.
with
I
EV?
don't think all bets are on EV in any case.
But do you think plans with regards to EV also will be pushed from here on?
It doesn't matter. It's the same. It's going to be the same issue, finding customers, whichever
Right,
one.
right. And right now, what's the sense that you pick up in
EVs
terms of
were,
even? Yeah, go on.
EVs were a few
Hmm, hmm,
percent early percent or quarter percent, except in the two-wheelers and three-wheelers. The
hmm.
cars, it was hardly anything. It'll
Correct.
remain the same, of a lower number.
Correct, correct. So overall, now with regards to kickstarting production as well, as you mentioned, that a lot of issues from supply side to demand to migrant laborers coming back as well. Do you think there is a possibility that over time it will have a bearing on the balance sheets on the P&Ls of the companies with wage costs going up, with I mean the supply chain transportations going up?
Listen, you're saying, what is it like starting up? We are used to working. When we go for work every day,
Hmm,
we're used to doing an incremental something. There's something which is running, and we are improving it incrementally.
correct.
Now, what is running has come down to zero.
Hmm, hmm,
Okay? Now, just think, when we were running incrementally, when we were running full, to increase how long it used to take.
hmm.
Now you try to put that same rate starting from zero.
Correct.
You double it, triple it, and then you'll imagine. Obviously, balance sheets are going to be hurt. That's a given. The whole world's thing is going to be hurt this year. Very few people are going to be doing extremely well. There are companies in the past who have built up large reserves, who have a lot of cash on their books. They have no debt. They'll be able to go through this crisis and come out strong, probably stronger, I think. There are companies with large debt and no reserve,
Hmm.
okay, who probably have projects on hand, a lot of investments stuck up. They're going to have a hell of a hard time. That's pretty obvious.
Obvious, right? So, very lastly, Mr. Kirloskar, if you have to think of India and reviving from here on, because for India, we've always seen that reforms and good reforms have come in always during times of crisis. Now, if you have to take that into consideration, if India has to come out of this crisis, and if you have to look at the second, phase of the stimulus package that could come, I mean, that's the hope that, as you said as well, what is it that we as a country can do better to get out of all this?
Okay, I've been talking, I think, pretty perhaps a little pessimistically right now, but I'm not a pessimist. I'm very optimistic on India. I still believe basic India, there's going to be a short-term issue, probably 8 months to a year, and there's again a long-term issue of India.
Mm,
I still believe India's story on being a large market, domestic market. We have a lot of raw material and capital goods, which many countries don't have. I've seen our cost structure in components in what we do at Toyota Kirloskar versus our competitors in Asia, whether it's Thailand, Indonesia, or Philippines. And we are much, much more competitive. I know that. That's why the component sector is growing. So I think we have good raw material, good capital equipment, and a good manufacturing sector. Okay, with very skilled people. So this story, and there are a lot of resources in the country. This story is going to remain, whatever way you look at it. Okay, so longer term, we are definitely going to go do very well. I'm very confident. We'll come out probably stronger out of this than most countries. I'm very confident of that. Second, the reforms that are being pulled out right now, in terms of crisis, as you said, a lot of reforms are being done. Good. I'm glad they're happening. I hope more of them are happening. If you look at the amount of stuff which has been announced on the corporate side, I'll remove this, I'll remove this. It's stuff we've been asking for a long time. fantastic on agriculture. Farmer can sell all across the country with no restriction, no price restriction. All this is stuff we've been talking about. Along with this, labor and land reforms will happen. And labor as an industrialist, I'm not saying, I just want to hire someone and fire someone. All I'm saying is I want flexibility in how I work, on my timings, depending on the kind of industry I run, maybe flexibility in hours of working and all that. I'm happy to have protection and some security for labor as well along with it. But we have to find laws which will align the interest of the labor, of the employee and the employer in the same direction. Okay, and that will get going. So I think these are all things which are happening. The reforms sound fantastic. What they've talked about defense is fantastic. What they've talked about public sector is fantastic. What they've talked about that 200 crore, anything below 200 crore, I won't have a global tender. I think it will benefit MSMEs like superbly. Not only MSMEs, many companies. It was long time. We've been asking for this for a long time. Okay, it'll push the quality up as well. So I think don't. Yes, we're going to have short-term, 12-month, lot of issues. Okay, I think the government is going to support us through that. Maybe I don't like X and you don't like Y, and someone else doesn't like Z. That's bound to happen. We are all none of us are similar people. It's a diverse country. The way I look at it is, government is looking at health. They have their own way of doing things. They're far more knowledgeable than I am. I'm looking around my own little circle. Hopefully the government is looking around a bigger circle. So I trust them on that. And there are a lot of things I like and a lot of things I like, but finally we have to get this thing going.
Absolutely. We have to get this thing going because
we have to be positive. Otherwise there'll be no demand.
Absolutely. We have to be positive. And in fact, in terms of the demography as well, India is very well placed at this hour. So that's something which will be in our support to support the revival and the growth story going ahead from a longer term perspective. But thank you, Mr. Kirloskar. Thank you for joining in. And it was a pleasure speaking to you. We will come back to you as well once probably we hear the second stimulus package that comes in for the other remaining sectors and the other people who really need it. But thank you very much for joining in.